Good morning and welcome to Swift Current, Saskatchewan, site of the Curling Stadium Speedy Creek Shootout. And good evening, konbanwa, to our friends in Asia, particularly our fans in Japan. Watashi wa Jason desu. My name is Jason Chang. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. We're here to bring you this feature match this morning. Draw 7 action, 4th game of pool play for both these teams. It's Riku Yanigasawa. He's playing the Redstones. From Japan, and of course, Ethan Sampson from the United States playing the Yellowstones. Team Yanigasawa, they have last stone advantage in the first end. That's just underway. They hit the pin. Ethan Sampson caught the back of the button, so that gave Team Yanigasawa hammer in the first. Team Sampson went in on their first rock, and they exchanged a hit before a flash hit by the Japanese team allowed Team Sampson to throw up a guard. So that's why you've got the situation in the house as you see it. Team Sampson shot stone with the guard out front, center line guard. Team Yanigasawa just played a freeze on top, that corner freeze, and now Team Sampson trying to respond with another freeze. Well, a really interesting matchup between these two teams. The young team from Chaska, Minnesota. That's where they represent, I think. Ethan himself is from North Dakota. Ranked about 40th in the world against the 28th ranked team in the world. Team Yanigasawa, who maybe have a little more experience. A bit of a wide age gap between their players, but certainly the back end players, Riku Yanigasawa and the man in the house, that's Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi, with a lot of international experience. Team Sampson, one of those many young American teams coming out of the system. He's played at a couple of World Junior Championships, so he's also got international experience. Both these teams having played a pretty aggressive schedule to get up the rankings. Good hit there for the Japanese team. They sit 2. Remember, they do have hammer, although there is a double back. If you get this right, you can hide this rock behind the double center guards as well. There are 3 other games on the ice, and of course, you can watch all the games on Curling Zone's YouTube channel. Search up Curling Zone on YouTube, or you can go to curlingzone.com. The live links are there with the schedule. Nikidian, he's playing against Jacob Libis. That's also Group A play. As mentioned, Ethan Sampson playing against Riku Yanigasawa. Jaden King playing James Balance. And the other Japanese team, Takumi Maeda, playing Shu Xiaming of China, an all-Asian affair. That would be a Group B match. I've had the pleasure of covering already a couple of the Yanigasawa games. He's in a good shape right now, 2-1. Heading into this 4th match, Ethan Sampson 1-2. So for Team Sampson, pretty much a must-win to keep his playoff hopes alive. Team Yanigasawa, of course, trying to get to 3 wins and get closer to a playoff spot. The top 8 teams will make the quarterfinals. 18 teams here, 3 pools of 6. They'll each play 5 round-robin matches. Opportunity here for Team Sampson to go around that center guard now. I believe that's Jacob Zeman throwing the stone there. Didn't quite get it as deep as they wanted. They wanted that top 4 and buried. And Yamaguchi being asked to play the run back here or play this double. He calls the game but throws the third stones. Yamaguchi in the house for these stones, but will throw the fourth stones. Mentioned this team from Japan. They're 2-1 right now. Although Yama-san, he was a little bit shaky in the evening game last night. I think he'd like to tidy things up a little bit. He was just struggling a bit on those softer weight hits. Whether it was a weight control issue or a line issue or a combination of the two, I couldn't quite tell, but the softer weight hits he was struggling with a little bit. So hopefully a good night's rest and he'll have that back in order. Yamaguchi's rock over curled. Couldn't make the double takeout. Sampson asking for another rock in the rings, try to get two in and get the force. Over curls, chips off the corner guard, rolls to a center guard. So Yama's got pretty much the same shot. Try to hit right on the nose, make the double. You will leave your stone there for the opponents to come around again. And once again, Yama was a bit tight, but he catches enough of the back one to just squirt it out. That's actually a really good shot because he's now rolled it over to a corner rather than leaving the center guard, which your opponents would go around. Now you force your opponents around a corner guard, which is a bit better situation if you've got last rock. You've left the middle completely open. Both draw paths available. And if he never leaves this open or puts it a little deep, you may still have 2 points in play. First stone for the Sampson team. They don't have last stone advantage here. Trying to go around the corner guard. They'd like this to sit buried in the top of the 8. Maybe slipping just the hair deep. Not too bad. They got it mostly buried, but opportunity for Team Yamaguchi to corner freeze to it. Maybe push it back a foot to sit shot stone. Well, opportunity here for Team Yamaguchi. Try to bump Sampson's rock back, maybe a foot, maybe half a foot, sit in front and be shot stone. They're working hard on this stone. Maybe a hair on the light side. Yeah, I think so. It's a little light. It crashes on the guard. It does roll into the top of the 12. I think now Sampson can just split the rings on the other side of the 8 foot. even these stones up and they won't be able to make a double. They'll get forced to their single, and that's what Team Sampson's decided to do. Important here to get these two yellow stones, or once this yellow stone that's going to come down gets thrown, to have them even with the other yellow stone. If you leave a bit of an angle, there might be a double. Well, opportunity to be force here in the first end. That's a really good stone. No double there. Need to make a hidden stick here for the single point. First and final stone. Karuizawa looking for a soft weight hidden stick to score his single. And they like the stone, and it hits and stays right there in the forefoot. 1 point for the Japanese team. Move back for the second. Second end just underway. Team Sampson with the last stone here, trailing 1-0. First stone just slipped into the top of the 12 corner guard being asked for. That's Maris Kleinis throwing the lead stone. Well placed. That's exactly where he wanted it. Yamaguchi, who's calling the game, skipping the game, although throwing third stones, asking for that tap. From their lead, Satoshi Koizumi. From the Nagano area, 37 years old. He's been around the block in Japanese curling for a while. Good tap, moves it into the 8-foot. Key thing there is that red stone that was just thrown is still outside the rings and touching the center line. So free guard zone and no tick there available. If that had been on the rings, you may have seen Ethan Sampson play a quiet weight and rolling it into the house. But because he can't hit that stone, they're going to make use of this corner guard that Marius just threw, and he's going to put it right behind. Great shot. Yamamoto Takeru is the second. Trying to chase the stone. Just rubs the guard. Rolls it in. That with soft weight. Couldn't throw it with any more weight if you were chasing that yellow stone at the back. Of course, if he had accidentally moved the guard out of play, that would have gone back. It is the 5 rock free guard zone rule. So you can't remove any guards until the hammer team's second stones. That would be this one. Jake Zeman is their second. Trying to make a double or just push that other red stone over. Sits behind the center guard. Shot stone still belongs to Japan, but it's wide open. Team Sampson sitting second and third, and both of those rocks are partially covered. They have the hammer, so Team Yamaguchi, they've got to be looking at how they can remove those yellow stones. Looking at hitting that yellow stone that's around the corner guard and rolling it towards the center and behind the center guard situation. Yamaguchi, you can see trying to carve that over. They do a good job of getting that contact, rolling it right behind the situation in the center of the rings. Does leave a double, though. Team Sampson can make this double. The shooter will roll away to the side of the 12-foot, and there won't be a double back. So, opportunity to spread out the rocks here. Just over curled a hair there. Didn't make the double, stuck around. It's in a dangerous spot, though. Could be easily promoted. Team Yamaguchi having a look at how they're going to manage the situation. You can definitely get to the nose or slightly inside the nose, push it through, and sit in front. That would be a really good shot. You'll protect your shot stone at the back. You got to be careful here. Can't be wide. This was the type of softer weight hit that Yamasan was struggling with last night. Let's see if he's got this figured out today. This time, I think he's on the mark, pushes the yellow through, corner freezes onto the other yellow stone. That's perfectly executed. Wonderful shot. Trying to run the front one back. This one's over curling, picks off the center guard. Wanted to get some action in the house. Get that other red one that's corner frozen on the yellow moving. Wasn't successful there. If you wanted to be aggressive, you could put up the guard again. But there is that yellow stone that's back of the rings. They didn't quite push it all the way out on that last stone, and without last rock, they want to play it safe and just hit that back stone out. Maybe having second thoughts about doing this. The setup is really good right now if you throw up a guard. If you throw up a guard, there's no doubles. They'll have to run it in. It's a red stone they're running in, so if they happen to make it, you can still hit the back one later, although that does potentially bring two back into play. If you hit this back one, it's a little bit safer, but you do give direct access to your red stone that's shot stone on the back of the button. That yellow onto red, I think that angle is there. They'd like to stick around, try to sit another rock in the rings. Could help them in the force situation. Now you're going to see Sampson make some sort of a play on this red-yellow. Looks like if you can hit this with a little bit of weight, you can just maybe catch that red stone first. The red stone that is in top 8 first. And then your yellow one will go back onto the other red one. So thin on the top red, and then you can push the your yellow shot stone into, or your yellow second shot stone into the shot stone. Thin onto the red, pushes the yellow one up. Wanted to be, I think, a hair thinner on that first red one. If you were hair thinner, that second yellow would come a little bit deeper. Your shooter might actually stick around. You can peel this one out. If you peel it out, though, there is a double on those red stones at the back. Double would probably roll out, and then you could go around the corner to try to get the force. The guard's the other call, and I don't mind that. If you want to be aggressive here, you can definitely throw up a guard. But having seen a few of the games from this Japanese team, they tend to be a little bit more cautious, a little bit more defensive, especially when they've got the lead, even if it's 1 point. And so I'm not surprised they're playing the peel here. Just hit and roll out, or hit and roll to the side. Most important thing is to just get rid of this yellow rock first. And you can see they're motioning for the hit and roll, the flop on top of that red stone. And the reason why is kind of what I just explained. If you took on the double, which is completely there, the shooter is definitely rolling out, or most likely rolling out. And then Yamaguchi will go around that corner guard, bury it, and then you're forced to a single. This way you can keep the blank alive. If you roll it on top, it'll be a tough hidden stick to sit 2 for Yamaguchi. They roll out, you've got the blank back on. So this is a very smart call by this young team. I think a lot of young teams would look at the situation and say, let's play the double. But I think this is the right call here. Well played. It's a bit of a flop. So there should be a double left on the last rock for Team Sampson once this hit is made by Riku Yanagisawa, depending on where the shooter lands. Maybe the double and roll out for the blank. Yanagisawa up 1-0 here. Second end, his last stone without last rock, sorry. Nice soft weight here. Looks like just hack to board weight, board at most. Sits right there. I think that's probably the best spot they could have left it to prevent the double and roll out. And that had really well controlled shot. It was hard not to roam a little bit more to the left as you see from the overhead. And if it rolled into the 12-foot, into those blue rings, you would have definitely seen Sampson take on the double and blank. Now I think he's probably going to be forced here, try to play a nose hit. He could throw it really hard and try to cross the face, make the double, and roll it the long way out the side, roll the shooter all the way across 9 feet of rings, but that would require a lot of precision and a lot of speed. So I think this is a prudent call in the second end of the game. You can tie it up. Final stone for Ethan Sampson. Sweepers look like they like it here. They're trying to carve it over just a hair. I think he'll be just fine. Right on the nose. A single for the yellow team. They've tied up the game. Yanagisawa and Sampson after 2 ends. Welcome back. Third end. 1-1 tie between Team Sampson and Team Yamaguchi. Sorry for that bit of silence. My microphone decided to stop working, so I did a quick switch or a bit of a restart on my headset. Hope it's all working. We had exchanges of a single point for Team Yamaguchi and Team Sampson. Good forces by both. Team Yamaguchi was forced to 1 by Team Sampson the first end. Sampson then forced to 1 by Yamaguchi. So it is a 1-1 tie. Team Sampson, they've still got shot stone. That's the rock on the top of the button. Team Yamaguchi, they've got the frozen stone. Although now things have moved around a little bit. Team Yamaguchi with shot stone behind cover. It is behind the yellow guard though, so Team Sampson will play this run back, but a 6-foot run back here. The top teams will have a pretty good success rate on a 6-foot run back. I remember seeing some stats for the elite teams, you know, those kind of in the top 10 or those slam teams. They have about a 90% success rate on a 6-foot run back, something along those lines. These two teams ranked 28th and about 40th in the world. 28th, I think, for Yamaguchi, 40th approximately for Team Sampson. So the success rate on those 6-foot run backs won't be quite as high. You saw a bit of a miss there. Yamaguchi asking for the guard to go back up, and this time it's going to be a red colored guard. So any run back now, you're running an opposition stone in. The yellow stone that's in the top 8 from Team Sampson, it is a piece open, so you can probably still play an out turn or the counterclockwise tap on that stone onto the button or onto the corner of the other red stone. Oh, they're actually going in. I think they realize that if they throw the guard, Sampson has that yellow stone, so decided to put it in. I think they may have been trying to corner onto the yellow. I'm not quite sure where they were going, because if they go right about there, the double is definitely on. So I think they were trying to go top 12 on the last shot. Above the yellow stone, top 8 at the deepest, maybe onto the corner. Anyway, double available now. Getting late in the end here, skip stones. Make the double, you need to hit the outside of the stone, and he's all over the guard. When he released the stone, I thought he tweaked it in. That's what I saw, and the sweepers jumped it and could not save it. So this is a big opening. The Japanese team. You're definitely going to hit the yellow stone. You're absolutely going to leave a double back, so your goal is to not leave a triple. The red-red double will always be there. You don't want to roll this too far to the side of the 8, because that could leave a triple. You have to be careful here. If you leave some sort of a triple, that yellow stone that's out of the rings on that right-hand side, 3 o'clock position, just out of the rings on the tee line, that could come into play. There could be a rock that gets shot sideways towards that rock if there's a triple. That could catch it, so that might help Team Yamaguchi here. They're going to try to flop just right on top. Yeah, I don't see a triple there. I think there's only a double now. If that had rolled 1 foot further to the right, you would definitely have a triple. Although, as mentioned, it may have caught, one of those stones may have caught on that side yellow stone. So we'll never know now. Approximately a nose hit there for Team Sampson. Try to get 2 rocks out of the rings. Give Yamaguchi a free draw for 2 points if he can make this. Now, the last rock he was tight, and this rock he's a little wide, won't make contact with the second stone. Yeah, just an overcorrection there, Ethan. And now a pretty simple draw. You can come to those red stones. You've got a little bit of backing to work with if you need it. Opportunity to put multiple points on the board, and that's what Team Yamaguchi did reasonably well in their second and third games of the round robin. They had some good conversion when they had last stone, taking advantage of opponent mistakes. Already got 2 locked up, so they've already gotten the lead, and now an opportunity to make it a 3-point lead if they can put this into the rings. They've got all the backing in the world. The sweepers are just going to stay right on it, make sure it doesn't pick, and absolutely no problem. 3 points for this Japanese squad. They're going to take a 4-1 lead after 3 ends. Fourth end underway, a big 3 points for Team Yamaguchi. They take a 4-1 lead. A very well played end there, especially by the back end. Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi, Riku Yamaguchi making their 4 shots beautifully. Got a little mistake from Team Sampson. Ethan Sampson couldn't make the double takeout at the end. That's what resulted in that open draw for 3 points. Now down by 3, Team Sampson. They, of course, have to put up the corner guard, try to generate some offense. Of course, you can't peel that stone. Free guard zone in effect. But because they've got a 3-point lead, Yamaguchi asking his lead Koizumi to just put this second stone in the rings as well. No need for another guard. This one's sleeping a little bit deeper than they want it. Just comes right to the face. Team Sampson going to make use of this corner guard. They could throw another corner guard if they wanted to, but they're going to go right in right now. 18 teams here in Swift Current for the Curling Zone Speedy Creek Shootout. If you're just joining us, my name is Jason Chang. Wachachua Jason des. Genki desu ka? How are you all doing? Good looking draw here from Marius. Puts it right behind. He's done that a couple times this game. He did that 2 ends ago as well on the same side. So not surprised they went to that same side of the sheet. I mentioned 18 Teams split up into 3 pools of 6, and this is the 4th match for both of these teams. Important match for positioning yourselves into the playoffs. The top 8 teams, based on records across the 3 pools, will go through to the playoff round. They do the last stone draws as well to separate any ties. And the 4 sheets out on the ice, and of course you can have multiple of our streams up on your device or multiple devices to follow all the action. 3 of the games are on Group A. That's this group here. That includes the king of curling, Nick Edin from Sweden. He's, of course, going to go to the World Championships in a week's time in Moose Jaw, along with Yamaguchi. So a very interesting pool here. 2 of these teams preparing for the Worlds. Nick is up 3-1 over Jacob Livis. Nick is 3-0 in the group, so it's looking really strong right now to make the playoffs. Jaden King, he's 1-2. I think James Balance, they are tied 1-1, so Jaden King really needs a win here. Of course, our featured game, Riku Yanagisawa, he's 2-1, trying to get himself to 3-1, strengthen his position for a playoff appearance. Ethan Sampson 1-2, so they really need a victory here. That draw goes deep and right through the rings. That's a big mistake. Decision time here for Yama. You could peel off the guard right now. They decided to freeze to the yellow stone that's behind the corner to neutralize the corner guard and neutralize that rock that's in the back of the yellow. Make sure that one doesn't come back to count. They've got the weight. They could probably push it out. They do push it to the 12-foot. Shooter spins to the back of the 8. Team Yanagisawa sitting 1, 2, 3. Team Sampson's got to think about moving the 2 stones in the top of the 4, top of the 8. I think there's 2 options. One is the one he's indicated, trying to hit and flop on that back 8 stone. Just a second shot in the back of the 4 for now. You always have that double, the red-red double at the top. You could also play the red-red double now and maybe try to roll it behind the corner, or even just kill one of them and roll it behind the corner. Still early in the end. Second stone. This is the last of the second stones here. I mentioned there were 4 sheets on the ice, so the other sheet is an all Asia Pacific affair out in Group B. The other Japanese team that's in the field from Kitami, Maeda Takumi. They're playing against the team representing China from Beijing, also preparing for the World Championships, Shu Xiaoming. And I think he'll be pretty happy to be back at the World Championships. China had, and sports in China took a big hit during the COVID years. They were off from international play for 2 seasons. They weren't in that bubble either. And as a consequence, they had to drop out of the A division of the Pan-Continental Championships. That's your path. If you're from the Americas or you're from the Asia Pacific, Africa, Middle East region, you have to go through the Pan-Continentals to make it to the World Championships. And once you drop out of the A division, you have to go to the B division, and you can't qualify for the Worlds out of the B. You have to first, in the Pan-Cons, win the Pan-Con B, which they did in Kelowna. That was the previous season. And then they moved up to the A divisions of the Pan-Cons. That was hosted in Lacombe, Alberta in the fall, the end of October. And they won the gold medal when they returned to the A division. And so that's gotten their trip back to the World Championships. So they came off a gold at the Cancons in Lacombe. They just came off earlier in February, beginning of February, a bronze medal at the Asian Winter Games. So that's like the Winter Olympics, but just for the Asia region. That includes kind of the Middle East as well. That was in Harbin, China, so they were the home team. Bronze medal win against Team Hong Kong. Well, they played against me, so they beat me and my Hong Kong team in that bronze medal game. Great bunch of guys. It's glad to see them back competing internationally. Of course, the women's world's happening right now as well, and the Chinese team. If you haven't seen the highlights of that crossover pseudo quarterfinal, 3-6-4-5 crossover game at the Worlds, Rui Wang of China made two amazing slash runbacks against Anna Hasselberg, the Olympic champ, to take 3 in the 10th end to advance to the semifinal. Although I believe they dropped the semifinal match a few hours ago to the queen of the worlds, at least in women's play, Silvana Turanzoni. And of course, Homan got by the Korean team to make the final. So it will be a Switzerland-Canada final at the Women's Worlds. China and Korea playing for bronze. Over on our feature sheet right now, the situation now improving for Team Sampson. They've got second shot stone back of the 4. The shot stone belongs to Japan, but it is wide open on the side of the 4. And Sampson's got also 4th and 5th shots, or maybe 4th and 6th shots in there. So Team Yamaguchi, they've got to be careful right now how they position these stones. Don't want to leave your red stones too exposed with so many yellow stones in play. One option for Team Yanagisawa is to draw to the back yellow stone. I don't know how easy it is. There is a corner guard that you have to negotiate. That's the in-turn draw if you're a right-hander, or the clockwise turn. You can also play a hit on this back stone. I think I like playing something on this back stone, whether you try to freeze to it or remove it. That is the shot stone. So if you can remove that, I think you'd want to just get this cleanly out or over the top of your red one, or just jam it off your red one. You don't want to stuff it on that back red, because you're likely losing the shooter here. You may catch the double on the side. Hard to tell if you can just clip the yellow one in that 4 o'clock position from the overhead camera. Pretty thin here to get it over the top. There it is. Takes the other one out, and that's a really good shot. Wonderful shot by Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi. He was struggling yesterday with some of his hits. He's been making all of his shots in this game so far. Yeah, high five, you deserve one. Third stones. This is the last of the third stones for Team Sampson. Struck over curling a little bit. Can they hold the shooter? They've thrown the weight soft to try to hold the shooter on the side. And they do just that. Really well done. You can see there's no double here. If you try to take on the double, which the angle is there, you will jam the yellow stone onto the red stone. So Yamaguchi just trying to hit the yellow stone. Can probably roll it around the corner guard to sit 2. If you can maintain that spot, you can get the force. They love that, being up 3 points already. No issues giving up a single point. And I just saw the score go up for the other Japanese game. Maeda took 1 in the third, so they trailed 2-1 against the Chinese team, skipped by Shu. A wonderful shot. Riku Yanagisawa, he's come to play today. The team Sampson, they're down by 3. They're going to ignore shot stone here and try to get a rock around the corner. I think they're going to play the hit and roll around the corner. I'm a little surprised they're playing the hit and roll. If they were to go around the corner, I'd just draw around the corner. It's easier to just draw the rock to the spot you need rather than hitting rolling. This redstone's never counting if you make the draw anyway, and you are down by 3. So I wouldn't be too worried about this redstone right now. Pretty good shot. May have rolled just a hair too far. With the amount of curl coming center line off to the center, as long as you can see a piece of it, you should be able to push it out. If you had played the draw, you could have left it a hair higher as well. Left it 2 feet higher. Even if you were a bit exposed, you would have set up the jam. So I would have liked just the straight draw there. It is possible the yellow stone is biting on the side. So I guess if it's biting, if you take out the red stone, you could set up a 3. Absolutely. I mean, that's a good point. So they probably considered that. They push this yellow one out. Absolutely. Can you make the double? I guess we'll know right now. If they're going to go for the double and stick, they're biting on the side, and it is for 2. Looks really difficult, though, to make this double and stick around. Probably just there if you make it with soft weight, although that redstone may jam on the back on the yellow. So Down by 3, Ethan Sampson's final stone, 4th end. We think this is a chance for 2 if they can make a soft weight double, hold the shooter, avoid the jam at the back. Or the way they're sweeping it now, it looks like they decided that wasn't possible, and they've taken this hit for 1. Yeah, I think they decided the West wasn't there. 4-2 is the score. Team Yamaguchi leads, and they'll have the hammer going to the second half of the game. Halfway through the match, Team Yamaguchi from Japan, they've got a 4-2 lead, and the hammer playing this 5th end. We play 8 end games here. If you're just joining us, my name is Jason Chang, here to bring you the action from the ice of your device. Thanks for joining us today. Draw 7. If you were joining us last night, sorry for the video issues. We had a lot of fans from Japan tuning in for that game, and for the first hour, unfortunately, had some tech issues, and you had to hear me and Ryan banter for a bit and commentate to no video. But we got some static cams for you in the second half. I know a lot of people continue to watch that, and thanks to our great tech and production team for getting everything back in order, working late at night, led by our fearless leader, Jerry Gertz. So thanks very much for all your hard work. Gives us a chance to broadcast every game from every sheet to anywhere in the world. No geo-blocking here. Well, Team Sampson, they need to put some points on the board. Without hammer, they're going to try to steal. That's why the double center guards went up. Team Japan goes around. Maybe he didn't get them in quite the best spots. Your shot stone is partially exposed. Second shot rock top 12. They probably wanted that a bit deeper into the 8-foot, because that could act as a guard for Team Sampson as well. Team Sampson trying to freeze to this red stone. It's a little bit heavy, and that's why it's chipped off, rolled away. It's pushed the Japanese stone to the top of the 4, buried. Do you hit that stone and roll behind? You can also play a peel, try to open things up and simplify the situation. Both are good calls. I like this call here. Just keep the pressure on. If you roll this behind those red stones that's on the top of the rings, you're sitting 3. This will be on the button. Then Team Sampson will have a hard time. We'll spend some time trying to rearrange the situation. At that point, you go up and play the peel. Yamamoto Takeru rolls it right onto the pin. Really tough situation now for Team Sampson. You've got now 2 Japanese red stones in really the perfect spot. And your guards are kind of hurting you. You, of course, don't want to peel off your own guards. That's what you need for the steal. But then how can you rearrange the rocks and the rings? Those are such a good spot right now. Yeah, this isn't a bad call. If you can promote this yellow centerline guard into the red, try to open up a little bit of the back red stones in the rings, the shot stone and the second shot, but still leave your guard in play. Leave your shooter and leave this yellow one that they're promoting in play. Then you can start to maybe access the back 2 red stones later on. This is close. And get some action in the rings. I think that was the bonus that they were hoping for. So they've kept all 3 guards in play. They've moved the rocks in the rings. I think that's a very good outcome for Team Sampson. Well, now you got to make a decision whether you're going to stay on the offense here and maybe put another rock into the rings, or a guard to block off that port, or do you peel the guards off? With a 2-point lead, your natural inclination is to peel off the guards. If you're going for the peel, you'd like to get 2 of them off. It's not automatic. There's some distance between those guards, and you want to lose the shooter as well if you're doing that. So it's not a guarantee. So you could just go on to the offense here. Either throw up a tight guard in that port. You can also go in top 8, maybe top 4 behind the center line guard. If you were to play the double peel, I think I would play the high one, the one that's touching the center line, into the yellow stone that is on that S3 logo. Try to hit it over the top, catch the left side of that second yellow stone as you see it from the overhead, and hopefully that won't jam in the back, and then your shooter will roll out. You can also just play the single peel. That's a little bit safer. You won't have any jam that rolls back in. Now that one's missed everything. I think they were trying the single peel. They've in fact made a double on their own stones. Well, all of a sudden, the advantage for this end has gone to Team Sampson because they've got 3 guards to work with. That staggered center guard, off center guard situation is really helping them now. So really big mistake there. They thought about it for a long time and made a okay call. Like, there was nothing wrong with the single peel. There was just something wrong with the execution. Nice draw there. Now I think you're going to go see the double peel. Yeah, there you can see Karuizawa now in the house as Yamaguchi goes up to throw. They're lucky they'll get the one in the house as well. And this double peel they couldn't play earlier because it would have possibly come jamming back into your own red ones. But now that your own red ones are gone, this double peel is possible. You can probably roll the shooter away as well if you hit it right. It's fairly close, but just a little bit too high. The shooter does roll away. Yeah, Team Sampson going to replace that guard. Put it back in about the same spot. Try to maximize the distance between the guards. Make the double peel as hard as possible. Now they're waiting for this rock to die down and then curl it over a little bit. Pretty good. There's a little bit more of an angle now. That would make it easier to make the triple, to get the guard onto the guard and then the one in the top of the button. This one's close as well. It's got the double peel, just squirts it by the one in the house. Needed it to curl just a fraction more to get the one in the house. Good shot, though. Got rid of the two guards. And remember, Team Yamaguchi, they still have a red stone that's in the back of the 12, just biting the back of the 8. So Team Sampson does need to throw up a really good guard here to protect their yellow stone. If you leave that yellow stone open, you'll see Team Japan, they'll try to chase it, try to sit 2. Sampson, his first stone. Not bad. They left it a piece open on the high side, the in-turn side. Not easy to push it completely out without jamming. I'm not too sure Yamaguchi would be too worried about that. They are in the commanding position with a 2-point lead. So I think if they can just push it back, even if it jams, sit shot rock. Ideally, they're sitting buried or partially buried still, so Sampson can't get buried on their last stone. And they'll at least have a fairly simple shot for 1. So I think that's what Team Yamaguchi was thinking at the very least. Just sit shot stone. Sit at least partially buried, if not getting it fully buried. Looks like it'll be pretty hard to get it fully buried, so stay partially buried. Should have a shot to score at the end, and hopefully you'll have a shot for 2. If not, have a shot for 1. By the guard on the yellow one. Oh, they are able to push it through. Yeah, on the other side. So they were always playing it with a bit of weight to sit 2. The other way would have been just quiet and tap it back a foot into sit shot stone. So that's a really good shot. Sitting 2 now. Sampson's got to roll this behind the guard. And even if they make a perfect roll, it'll be behind the tees. So depending on how much Team Yamaguchi can see, He may have a shot for 2, or he may just be able to just draw to the button for 1. So a pretty low-risk situation now for Team Yanagisawa in terms of scoring. They'll definitely have the full button or the top of the button all available. And if this shot isn't made perfect, he'll have a shot for 2. Catches it thin, makes the double though. That's a good plan B. I think they were just playing the roll there, and they caught it thin. But heads up sweeping, heads up ice calling, makes the thin double instead. And they are sitting 2, that yellow stone nibbling in the back of the 12-foot at about the 7 o'clock position. That is in the ring, so they've got the force. If Team Sampson can force here, they'll flip the hammers. They'll have hammers and evens. Take 2, force 1, take 2, then steal the extra. You can win the game that way. But first, Riku Yanagisawa, he's got to make this draw against 2. He's got a little bit of backing to work with if he needs it, and he doesn't need it. He'll get his single point. He'll extend his lead 5-2 through 5. Welcome back. 6th end underway here at Swift Currents Curling Stadium Speedy Creek Shootout. If you're just joining us, my name is Jason Chang. Watashi wa Jason desu. Kochira wa Dave Schmel desu. With me, joining me is Dave Schmel. His game ended early over on the other sheet. Nick Edin coming out a winner. 4-0 is his record. Win against Libis. How was that game, Dave?
That game was good. It just was indicative of Nicholas Edin making a lot of veteran calls. And I think a couple times Jacob Libis just stretching just a little bit too far and maybe trying a little bit too hard, giving some extra opportunities to Edin. And Edin, being the champion that he is, took full advantage.
Yeah, and I think if you get to 4 wins, I'm pretty sure you're going to be in the playoff round. Top 8 records will go through. And Team Yanagisawa, as you know, 2-1 right now is his record. So a win will take him to 3 wins and position him quite nicely going to the last round robin pool play game. Sampson 1-2 right now, so they really need to pick up a victory here to keep their playoff hopes alive. They got the force in the last end to trail by 3, and they've got hammer here in the even ends in the 6. So if they can get 2, force 1, get 2, steal the extra, you're on your way to a victory. Easy as that. And good 2 shots by Marius Kleinis. They've played that corner guard and then the draw around the corner every time they've had hammer going home on that same side, and Marius has made it every time so far. So nicely done by their lead.
And I'll tell you, every time I am at a bonspiel in Blaine, Minnesota, I see Marius on the ice throwing stones for hours. So he certainly puts the time in.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if you can simplify your shots for your lead and try to give them the same shot every time, they're much more likely to make it. So they played that in-turn corner guard and then that in-turn draw right after, and he's made it, 3 ends in a row now. That one maybe 1 foot or 2 feet too deep, but I'll give him that one.
That's mighty generous of you there, buddy.
Well, princes, sultans, lieutenants, we've got to be nice to our folks. So if you were joining us for yesterday afternoon or yesterday's evening game, that's an inside joke. I think a lot of you were. So I think we covered Yanagisawa together, didn't we?
We certainly did, Jason son.
So we would have had a lot of the same fans, I'm sure, joining us. So thanks for coming back with me, Dave. Didn't get scared.
Oh, absolutely not. Well, the shoe's on a different foot. I'm on the color this time. You get to have fun with me.
So truly you're the servant to me now.
That is correct, my liege.
Well, Yanagisawa with the 3-point lead. They went 2 in the rings, and now they've guarded. Can now peel 5 rock free guard zone, so the second stone of the Hammer team, you can start to remove those rocks that are out in front of the rings. You being from the Pittsburgh area, you must see this Sampson team quite a lot. What else can you tell the folks about this team?
Well, I'm a member of both the Bucks County and Pittsburgh curling clubs, separated by 5 hours. Our curling geography is a little bit different here in the States than it is in Canada, where you can trip over clubs in some towns. But the Sampson team, they're one of the high performance teams in USA curling. Been playing together for a good period of time. They curl out of our national training center in Chaska, Minnesota, and have definitely been one of the teams involved in the conversation for the last couple of years now.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit more about that national training center in Chaska? When did it open, and how do things operate there?
Well, it's a public curling club that was built by the city of Chaska, I believe, in conjunction with the state. And initially, it was free membership to anybody who wanted. You just had to pay to curl. So I think at one time they had several thousand members on their ranks officially, because all you had to do is show up. But it's a beautiful 6-sheet facility, and the most important thing, you can play regular leagues there, of course, but the most important thing is that the teams in the program receive access to the, one, their coaching is there, but they also get to use USA curling stones. So they get to use like competition stones that are going to resemble the stones that they are going to be using at Worlds and such.
So really that access to the facility, to the best stones, to great ice and great coaching, obviously helping the high performance teams and the high performance players in that program develop and get better. I know Ethan was also a pretty good baseball player. Does he still play baseball? Do you know?
To my knowledge, no. But we've had a couple baseball players move through the system of late. I believe Connor Kaufman was a ball player himself, and he plays front end on one of the competitive teams in the States. So now, well, as we've seen across the country, the training regimens and the infrastructure has only gotten better, and obviously our friends in Canada have had the leg up on it, but the rest of the world's catching up, and I think you have to talk to most Canadians. They know that Canada has to keep the game going.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly, the Olympic Games have grown curling worldwide, different parts of the world, in the Americas, particularly the Caribbean area, and as well as South America. Brazil's been curling, and they have a dedicated facility in Brazil, just outside of Sao Paulo. Curling's growing immensely in Asia and in the Middle East region as well. Now moving into Southeast Asia, into the Philippines and Thailand. They're starting to curl there. So a lot of this driven by the attention that curling's gotten in the Olympic Games, and certainly the top countries in the world, Canada included, but many others have to stay on their toes to keep on top of the games. You look to keep on top of things, and you look at the World Championships that are happening right now on the women's side. You've got a team from Lithuania there for the very first time. You've got Turkey there for again, actually. So they've managed to maintain their spot in the World Championships and the Europeans. It wasn't just the fluke. They've gone there now for a few years now. And they've got a great mixed doubles team too. And their men's team is growing quickly. And on the men's side, the World Championships are coming up. And the Czech have a men's team there again. Lukáš Klima, they're doing very well in this tournament. I've been telling people, watch out for that team this year at the Worlds. I don't know if they're good enough yet to get into the playoffs in the top 6, but they're going to surprise a few teams, I think, and they're 3-0 right now in this tournament.
No,
Austria,
Austria,
sorry, also in the men's world. Sorry, Jay, sorry for cutting you off.
Oh, my liege, you already forgot my name.
Nice run back, cleared off the guards. So those were the most dangerous stones facing the Japanese team. Anything out in front, Team Sampson can use. Yanagisawa sitting shot stone, back of the button, second shot, top 4, just biting the 4. Sampson does have a rock that got pushed in when they were doing that peel to the top of the 8. So Team Sampson, they can set up a deuce here if they could just keep their Yellowstone separated.
Yeah, they're going to have to set up that separation, and still quite a few stones to come, so the placement's going to be absolutely vital here. And of course, they'll have to address the shot stone at some point as well.
Yeah, and that's why they probably don't want to be removing the red stones completely right now. Just rearrange them to the back of the rings. Try to set up a jam or something to freeze to later on. As you mentioned, still only third stones right now. So you start removing the rocks, the red stones, it'll be easier to make double peels or peels. So if they can just move these red stones back. You got to stick around here, though. I think it will sit down, will it? Yep. They've got the separation on the yellow ones. There's certainly no double. And they've moved the red stones. Both are now behind the T line. So the setup is improving there for Ethan Sampson. And Dave, I've been waiting for you to finish your game so you can join me, because I'm not sure who's throwing third for them. That doesn't look like their regular third to me on the picture.
Zeman is throwing third, and Thurston's throwing second.
Okay, there we go. That's my mistake. Zeman is throwing third.
Right. Zeman is throwing third. Thurston is still serving as a vice skip. So
there we go.
He's in the house right now. And it's Cleanus and Zeman who are sweeping the skip stones.
That's why they've confused me.
And you have the whole dance that Zeman has to do because he delivers with the straw broom, then he has to go get his sweep broom.
Yeah, Team Yanagisawa, they're going to hit this open yellow stone.
Are they sticking with the same configuration as yesterday?
The same configuration. Hits it, rolls out. Not sure if they really needed to stick around there. Just more shrapnel for jams later on. So
it's been Tsuyoshi calling the game the whole time?
Yep, that's right. Yama-san calling the game, throwing the third stones. Riku Yanagisawa in the house when Yama's throwing, but throwing the fourth stones. I think a freeze here is a good idea.
It gives you some options for sure. You've done the work to move them behind the T line. So if you get the freeze there, then the next potential run, you're still gonna likely will jam and stay there, and you can generate your deuce that way.
Yeah, if you freeze where they're motioning there, I think that's really good, because you can't squeeze a yellow stone out the side. If you peel, it'll jam onto the side red one. So I really like that spot that they're pointing to. You can't bounce it, though. If you bounce it, you might leave a bit of a gap now to blast it out. But if you can just freeze it right there, or even stay a hair above it without moving it, I think that'd be a really good spot for this stone. Ethan Sampson, he's got a couple of World Junior men's appearances. I think he was skipping the last time he was there, and then maybe played with Dan Casper a year before that. And Daniel Casper, one of the best young teams in the U.S. right now, maybe should have even won the U.S. Nationals this year.
Danny had a very good year this year. He gave my good friend Scott Dunham fits all year, including at Nationals.
All right, trying to get the curl here. Will they get it to the inside of this rock? That would be the most ideal spot. They get it, well, almost to the face. What do you do if you're Team Japan? Do you try to blast it out? You'll probably give a shot for 2 if you just try to blast it out. I think you'll lose the shooter. You'll lose the back red one as well.
I think you can make them both go away for. The one on the button you can clear out to the left hand side as you look at it through the overhead, without removing the one on the back button. The question is, what's going to happen to the stone that you run in?
If you play the run.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to make the shot. Or you can just draw down and take the end of the way, much more conventional way, and put the force on, which I don't really mind at all.
Yeah, if you play the run, you've got to make sure you hit the first stone, the top yellow stone on the high side. If you ever get to the nose or cross the nose, you could jam it into the red stones and give up 3. That's probably why they're not playing that, just in case. You got a 3-point lead. You don't want to give 3 back right here. So as you said, you could just freeze to the yellow stone, really shrink the real estate to get that second point in. Have to get to the side of the button if you do that. Or you might be able to play some sort of a hit and hope all your yellow stones stick around. Probably won't be a triple there, though. I think if you place this right onto the nose of that yellow stone, it'll just be a shot for 2 at most for Team Sampson. All right, this is the last stone for Yamaguchi in the 6th end. Without last stone advantage here, they've got a 3-point lead, but Sampson's sitting shot stone right now. We'll probably have some look at 2 here. Team Yamaguchi trying to play a rock into the top of the 4, trying to take away the draw, maybe take away the hit. Think they did a good enough job there? I think so. Looks like it'll be pretty tough to score 3, let alone 2.
I think you can get 2 out of it. Certainly not easily, but they are going to try to see if they can't come up with a 3. I don't see how you do that and keep the shooter.
Yeah, it looks like I'm not sure you can keep the shooter based on the angle you need to hit it. I mean, can you just hit it right on the nose?
If you hit it right in the nose, the one that you strike goes out the side door, and then of course you clear the one out the back. That still leaves the one on the side of the 4-foot. So I think that's. Don't know if it might kick into it.
I think it will.
Don't know if there's enough energy left at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it will kick that way. The question is there enough action in the rings, and are the stones lively enough to get it to move? You only do need to move it out of the 8-foot. So I think they're going to give this a go.
I think you have to down 3 if you think there's any possibility.
Yeah, there's no easy shot for 2 either, so this might not be that much more difficult than your shot for 2. So throwing some heat here. Final stone, Ethan Sampson, maybe a chance for 2. Will the yellow kick sideways? It does. Will it push it far enough? No, but you'll get it far enough for 2. It's a good shot. Team Sampson, they closed the gap. It's now 5-4. Yamaguchi with the lead, and they'll have hammer in 7. Welcome back. 7th end just underway. Team Sampson trailing 5-4, but they made a really good shot there for 2. Almost made it for 3. If they could have thrown it any harder, Dave, they may have been able to get 3 points out of this. But let's have a look at the replay.
Yeah, Jason. You see it there. If it curls up maybe just a little bit more, you're going to get a little bit more energy. But it gets there, and that shooter does spin back. So maybe you probably had to throw about a 5-second rock at it. But most importantly, they scored their deuce, and they still have another hammer left. So force another deuce, and they're still in this game. So game on, and looking forward to the last 2 ends.
Yeah, as you said, they can force here, be down by 2 coming home, get 2 coming home, or hey, you can even get 3 coming home. You saw China in that playoff game against Sweden at the Women's Worlds get 3 in the 10th end for the win. Just happened overnight, last night. So anything's possible with the 5-rock free guard zone. Can also go steal for the win. So it just depends on how things are setting up. There is a center line guard in play. Team Yamaguchi, they're going to go around it. They can't remove the guards. They're up by 1 with the hammer. They've played a very solid game so far. Even that last end when they gave up
we are the
2.
last game on the ice today.
Yeah, Dave, what are the other scores finals
sure.
looking like? You were from the Nicodine game. They beat Jake Libis, but what happened on the other games?
Yes, it was Adine over Libis 7-2. It was Zhu from China over Maeda 6-1, and that was a game where Maeda had the hammer pretty much the whole time. It was death by paper cuts, a long series of steals, and that's our game. And then, I'm sorry, still on the ice is Jaden King, 4-2, playing in the 7th end, and Balance has the hammer in end number 7, trying to catch King in that battle, which is quite important because both teams, I think, are a little bit on the bottom end of the pools right now.
Yeah, Jaden, I think, needs the win here. They're 1-2 in Group A, and Balance, and they're 0-3, so I think their chances of making the playoffs are over. But of course, playing for pride. But for Jaden King, they need to even their record up to 2-2. Same here with Ethan Sansom. They're 1-2 as well in this group, so they want to even their record up to 2-2 to give themselves at least a chance at that playoff round.
And thank you to Lauren Kleinis in the chat. Truly appreciate that. See, I don't know Jacob by face, so I only saw the jacket. So it's Chris DeLillo throwing third.
All right, they've confused me, and they confused you too.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Lauren.
We appreciate the crowdsourcing there. Tough to keep track of everything. Well, heck, they just not having any luck traveling. I mean, last week was difficult as well.
Yeah, so Jake is there, and he's throwing that second stone, I believe. And DeLillo is throwing the third stone. Airlines losing luggage seems about right. I think they were trying to freeze to the red stone. That came up a little bit short. I think you're going to see the peel here. Try to get rid of that corner guard and the yellow stone in the rings, perhaps.
I think that'd be a great idea. My strategy when I'm trying to keep my luggage is I have the most obnoxious looking bags you can find. My curling bag is actually a rolling golf bag, which is covered in pineapples. So if they have to find them, I'm like it's a big loud golf bag covered in bright pineapples, and they find it instantly.
Well, I'm gonna, as a curler myself, I'm gonna give a piece of advice to all the young curlers out there, including Chris and the parents. Pack all your curling essentials in your carry-on. Guess the uniforms are okay in this situation, but if you're ever in a championship event like the World Championships, you need to have your uniform. If you're in the wrong color, they can fine you, or in the wrong uniform. So
you can forfeit the game.
If you don't have the right stuff on, you can definitely forfeit the game. They're usually a little bit sympathetic to lost luggages, but they can fine you, or they'll make you cover up all the improper markings, or they'll make everybody change to a different shirt. So you might have to go to Walmart and grab a same color shirt to be compliant. So I always put my shoes, my gloves, my pants, my uniforms, both colors if you need them, into my carry-on. So I always have them with me. The only way they won't be with me is if I have an emergency landing and have to evacuate.
I had a friend of mine had a situation like that where they had to make themselves compliant, and one of the rules was that the skip's name had to be there, so they grabbed a piece of masking tape and a Sharpie and wrote the guy's last name on it, slapped on his back, and said, "Here you go."
Yeah, there's been a number of situations I've been in world curling events. One of the Pan Continental B Division this past year. In that B Division, the team from Qatar didn't get any of their luggage, and they none of them had any of their uniforms in their carry-on. I think they did keep their shoes in the carry-on, but they all had to go out and buy a white shirt or a white jacket to wear. They had to borrow brooms, or they bought brooms from. I think they went to Kevin Martin's store in Edmonton because the PanCons were in Lacombe, Alberta. So that's a lot of headache when you arrive at a tournament and you don't have anything. The brooms you can't avoid. You got to check those usually. They make you check those, but the uniforms and the shoes, your gloves, your stopwatch, bring those on your carry-on. You don't need an extra headache. In fact, my alternate this year learned that lesson too. He also put his pants, I think, and uniform in his carry-on or in his checked bags, and that arrived late. So it's a bit of a headache for him. And we told him, I reminded him, always in your carry-on, please.
You want to make sure you have your pants. It's a family show.
He's just the alternate. Sit behind the bench without pants. Won't see it. It's like a Zoom, right? If you're behind the bench.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
This one's going to get awfully close to the guard. Woo! Good shot by Chris there. If that is his real name.
An imposter, you say?
Oh, for all we know, somebody's in the witness protection program and they're just not telling us.
Well, Yamaguchi can see most of this stone. Hit and stick around. Try to sit 2. They'd love to get 2 here. Extend that lead to 3 points. 2 points just doesn't feel very safe anymore with the 5 rock free guard zone rule.
Especially have teams that know how to put rocks in play.
Trying to carve this over. Makes contact. Will they stick around, though?
Oh, they do spin out.
And now the force is on. You can also be aggressive and try to draw around and try to steal this end. The force is on, but if you nose hit the red stone, you do leave a double back, and that could end up being a blank. You can't really roll behind the guard because you might jam it onto the yellow. They are going to go for the hit.
I think there's enough room to clear the guard in the back. The biter, rather. I think, weight control is just very vital here.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you.
That so often is what differentiates the mid-level teams to the absolute top teams, knowing exactly what weight's required.
Yeah, nice soft weight here. Most important thing is to sit 2. Your choice is to take on this double and try to blank or go around. You still have a split available on those red stones as well, and those yellow stones are just biters, so you can definitely split that in for an extra point. And I think they've chosen to go around and not play the double, mostly because there is a double guard situation there, so there's that really high yellow guard. If you make the double, you might not be buried, or you'll be buried pretty high. That gives Sampson a chance to go around everything. Yanagisawa.
This needs to sit down.
Yeah, it looks like it might go right through the back. Oh, and it does. And, well, that's a big mistake, number one. And number two, the force is definitely on now, and maybe even a steal could be on.
You certainly have to give it the college try.
Yeah, put this in the top of the four here.
Make it really tough to score. Put that force on and maybe eke away with the steal.
Yeah, either way, this would be mission accomplished for Team Sampson for this end. Needed an error at the end there from Riku Yanagisawa, so that was a bit unfortunate. He threw that one through the rings.
I think this one's a little bit warm as well.
Yeah. The sweepers raised their hand. Looks like he'll stop in the back of the rings, but it'll make Riku's shot a little bit easier for the single point.
Has the easy backing to throw to now.
Yeah, it is overburied, but that yellow guard up there, that center guard is very, very high. So as long as you're not too heavy, should have some of that backing. So it is the final stone here for Team Yanagisawa. They've got a 5-4 lead through 7 ends. They played a really good game up to this point. Team Sampson, though, they got 2 in the 6th to close the gap and now have the force on. Yanagisawa just threw the last rock heavy. Expect them to be a lot closer this time. Still a little bit juicy, though. Will this slip too deep as well? It is. How deep?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, dear. That's a steal of 3 for Team Sampson. And what a turn of events. 2 missed draws from Riku Yanagisawa. And now Team Sampson, they're going to storm into the lead for the first time in this match, 7-5 through 7. Stay tuned, 8th end coming up. Well, what a big turn of events here. Team Yanagisawa and the Japanese squad, they've been playing so well up until this point. Then Team Sampson unexpectedly steals 3 points in that 7th end to take a 7-5 lead, Dave.
Yes, Jason. And you look at that, and I think it's just simply a matter of we had a lot of draws go down the same line and just starts to get a little bit faster with each and every successive one. And might have been lured into the fact of just a little bit that Sampson rock was behind the tee line, having that feeling that you have backing and you don't want to be short, and you just kind of juiced it right through the curl and right past all that backing and give up a huge steal of 3.
Yeah, for sure. And as you said, as each rock goes down, the speed gets faster, and people might ask, well, we've been playing on this ice for 7 ends. Why is it still getting faster? Well, the sheet beside them has come off. And so once, you've got sheets beside you coming off, the air temperature is actually decreasing. That might actually tighten up the ice or slow down the ice a little bit on that side of the sheet. And so if you don't warm that side back up with some rocks and some sweeping, it will be slower until a couple rocks go down. So that may have just been what happened there. You did see, again, Riku's first rock went through pretty easily. Even Ethan's rock came a few feet too deep, about 5 feet too deep. And then Riku's last rock went through as well.
Yeah, I know. Actually, it can be a strategy employed by a skip to force your opponent to draw onto that cold side and focus all the play on the one side, and eventually cover it up. So they had to venture out into that unknown. So it's going to be up to Yanagisawa and and Yamaguchi to come up with a deuce here to tie it up.
Yeah, they haven't had to play a corner guard for a while, so they have one up there now. They need 2 to tie here. I think it's probably prudent to throw up another corner for now. It's still very early in the end. Have these evened up. You'll see probably Team Sampson peeling every guard they see, but as long as there's no double peel, you'll be able to go around your corner at some point for your 1 point and then try to get a second point in there later on. So we'll see how this team copes. I mean, that's a big turn of event. They had this game well within their control. They had a 5-2 lead after 5 ends. Gave up 2 and 6, which was okay. Good shots there from Team Sampson to generate that too, but they were still 1 up, playing 7. And quite honestly, not a very scary situation, although just a couple of miscues right at the end there cost them 3 big points and the lead.
Yeah, that was certainly an unacceptable outcome. Pretty much the only thing you couldn't do there.
Yeah, you could have even given up 1, and you'll be tied with Hammer coming home and still in the advantageous position. That guard slipped a hair too deep. Might be a double peel possible. Ethan trying to line this up. Don't want to jam it on the back.
You at least take a shot at it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're anywhere close, you won't jam it for sure. We'll pass over the top. Pretty close. Catches the backside, rolls the shooter in. Wonderful shot, Team Sampson.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, when things start turning around, sometimes that momentum switches completely and you're making everything all of a sudden.
You even get the little bonus of having the extra counter in there. And a counter that's actually useful as opposed to just the biter. I mean, the biter was going to prove to be a problem, but one of the 8-foot's certainly going to be addressed, likely to score 2 here.
And Team Yamaguchi, they're going to later in this end find a way to use those rocks in the rings. Right now, another guard is pretty prudent. There's a lot of stuff in the rings where these can jam onto now, so see if you can get some sort of a miscue.
Yeah, a little help would be just what the doctor ordered for them. But Ethan's going to look for the peel either way. Just don't jam on anything.
All right, so this lineup confused me originally, confused the rogue commentator you when you came in, and it confused the parent as well. So, Dave, do you want to tell us who was actually playing out there?
A gentleman who threw a yellow stone. That's as far as I'm willing to stake my reputation on it. But we think that is actually Jacob. We're just that third stone now, or yeah, it was third stone. So we think that's Ty DeLello.
He played at the Briar for Newfoundland and Labrador. I think he's a native of Manitoba, though. That's why he's got the tuck delivery.
See, that all makes sense.
That's from our sources on the ground. So if we've got it wrong now, there's no one else to blame.
Oh, we can certainly find somebody else to blame. Haven't you ever listened to a politician?
Well, and if it is Ty DeLello, I hope we're charging some tariffs on his usage on Team Sampson.
They haven't crossed the border. They're still in Canada.
All right, you got me. Well, we won't talk about tariffs anymore because...
No, we don't need to do that.
Because Yamaguchi, he's got to make something happen here with his third stones. If this Yamaguchi team is going to come back here and win this game or at least send this into an extra.
Yeah, they had to equal their production by 40% to stay in.
Well, your math is right on, although this rock just a hair short. They wanted to get this frozen onto that yellow stone, make the peel a lot more difficult. Straight peel now. You can easily get this over the top. You don't need to keep the shooter. You've got enough yellow stones in the rings here. So Chris, Ty, whoever you are, trying to make the peel. Nicely done.
I'll go with
And
Ty
the
for
Zeman
that.
jacket looks pretty. And the Zeman jacket looks pretty good on him. It fits pretty nice, I think.
Yeah, maybe just a touch long. But better long than short.
You don't want to show your belly button, I don't think.
Well, yeah, that or the other part of that.
Not that kind of sport we're in.
Yeah, well, everybody who's been in a curling club knows that crack kills.
Well, one more rock here for Yamaguchi. I think they're trying to put this in a slightly better spot than they just had. Trying
Need
to
to wick
play
it
a
and
hit
get underneath,
on the
yeah.
back one. Okay, I'm not sure they were playing that or not, but maybe they were.
Yeah, I believe the call was to, because that yellow stone there was going to be a problem to increasing the scoring zone enough. So they want to wick off of it and kind of chap underneath them on the 4 foot and force a short run, but at least force a shot.
That wasn't a lot of weight to get the roll. You have to still roll at a good 3 feet to be behind, and they're nowhere behind the yellow one right now. It's wide open with a good amount of air. So I think they needed a bit more weight if they were to make that shot.
Indeed.
Well, Ethan Sampson, they make the hit here. They can't lose the game in 8. Yeah, if they plant it on the corner, they think it might jam if they try to peel it.
It's what you have right now.
Yeah, you don't have a lot to work with. I guess if you get it to the face, you can also make the peel as hard as possible.
The only other thing you could do is draw well behind that stone in the 4 foot, be second count in the back, and hope
Be in the
for.
back 12 or the back 8.
Mm-hmm. May actually probably easier shot to execute and maybe a slightly higher chance of eliciting a miss, but there's lots of ifs there.
Yeah, so critical stone here for Yanagisawa. Coming off a couple of missed stones in the 7th end that really cost their team and could cost them the game. Now they need a freeze here. They are either trying to get it onto the corner of the yellow or dead on the face. They're going to call this based on what they see on the line here. Yamaguchi, I think they're calling right on the face now. If they can, try not to bounce it too much. They've bounced it a hair. Not bad, but I think there is room to squeeze it out.
You're going to have to just pick it because if you make contact with the 4 foot, there's a good chance it hits that catcher, and you just saw them motion towards it. Ty motion at that.
Yeah, either you have to catch it thick enough with weight and get it over the top, like jam it off that yellow stone that's in the 4 and go over the top of the back one, or try to get it clean, like you said.
Either way, shot for the win right now.
Yeah, if you're kind of in between, that's where you can get that off the yellow and then jam onto the other one, I think. So either way, it is a shot for the win, and I didn't expect to be saying this 2 ends ago. But the Sampson team, they stuck in there. They hung around. They got the mistake, and now a chance to capitalize and put a W on the board, get the 2-2 on the record, and keep their playoff hopes alive here at Swift Current. All right, this is Ethan's final stone. Try to peel this out. Will they get the clean pick? They
Oh,
get the clean
perfect.
pick. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. What a comeback for Team Sampson after trailing by 4 halfway through the game. It was 4-1 after, or actually 5-2, sorry, after 5 ends of play. They come back, storm back. A couple of misses there. You saw them, Dave, by the Yamaguchi team from Japan. I think that was a very disappointing 7th end for them. That was what cost them the game today.
Oh, they're certainly going to want that back for sure. But big kudos to the Sampson rink for putting together a strong six end to get their dues, and then maintain the pressure on him. When you maintain the pressure and force your opponents to shots, sometimes you can step in it and end up coming up on the right side. So good to them. Good game for both. They both have their playoff hopes still alive. So it'll be interesting to see how pool play finishes out.
Yeah, and we've got another 3 draws coming up, 12:30 local time, 4:30 local, and 8 local. If you're in the Eastern time zone, that's 2:30, 6:30, 10 o'clock. Add some more hours if you're across the other side of the Pacific. And at 2:30, our feature games, McDonald and Laycock, Clyder and Lee. And in this game, our feature right now, it is Sampson with the wins, running Yanagisawa out of stones 7-5. Both teams now at 2-2 in Group A. Both teams still with a chance to make the playoffs. Well, that's the end of my week here at Swift Current. I'm not covering any more games this week, so I'm going to sign off. Dave, thanks very much for joining me halfway through. And to all of you at home, thanks for joining us. Curling Zone, Curling Stadium, please join us again, 2:30 Eastern Time, 12:30 local.